Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into a big name, an American icon reborn, the 2026 Ford Bronco.
That's right. We've got a good pile of sources here looking at how Ford brought this legend back. It's all about mixing that, rugged old school vibe with some pretty cutting edge tech.
Yeah, and that's our mission, really, to break down the specs, what it can actually do, and maybe some of the things you give up to get that capability. How does it fit into that tough off-road market?
Exactly. We're going past the marketing buzz. This thing is built, designed from the ground up to handle tough places, mountains, deserts, you name it. It's got serious competitors too.
Okay, let's start with the obvious, the look. You can't really talk Bronco without talking about the design and, well, the history behind it.
Absolutely not.
The sources, they emphasize that bold exterior. Still get the solid lines, those famous round headlights. It feels very intentional, keeping that original identity.
And that's key, because it's not just retro for retro's sake. You got to remember, the first Bronco, back in '66, it basically invented a category, an early SUV built for terrain other vehicles just couldn't manage.
Right.
And it wasn't just looks. It proved itself. Won the Baja 1000 in '69. So this new one, the sixth generation that came back after, 25 years, it had huge shoes to fill. It's carrying that performance legacy.
And performance needs power. Let's talk engines. The sources detail a couple of main options. The starting point is a 2.3-liter EcoBoost, four-cylinder.
Yeah, and don't let the four-cylinder fool you. That 2.3L is pretty potent. We're talking around 275 horsepower, maybe 315 pound-feet of torque. That's quite capable right out of the gate.
Okay, so a strong base. But then there are the upgrades for the higher trims, like Wild Track or the big one, the Raptor.
Oh, yeah. That's where you get into the V6 territory, specifically the 3.0-liter EcoBoost V6. And the numbers there, well, they jump significantly, up to about 418 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque.
Wow.
That's serious power. Puts it right up there with some much pricier, luxury off-roaders in terms of raw grunt.
So with numbers like that, it must be pretty quick, even being a high-riding vehicle. Sources mention 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in like 5.9 seconds for the 2.3L.
Yeah, it's surprisingly quick off the line for something designed to crawl over rocks.
But does that speed combined with the high stance, do the sources mention anything about like stability concerns at highway speeds? Does it feel twitchy?
That's a really good point, and it gets right to the core trade-off. Because it's optimized for off-road toughness, the standard Broncos, they actually limit the top speed electronically, usually around 159 kilometers per hour.
Ah, okay.
It's a safety and stability measure, basically.
Okay.
Now, the Raptor is different. It can push past 180, but that's because it has a whole different, much more advanced suspension system designed to handle that kind of speed safely, even with the height.
Right, the suspension. Let's get into the hardware that makes it work off-road, the transmissions. There's a manual option, a 7-speed.
Yeah, for the purists, you can still get a manual on some trims, which is pretty cool these days. But the standard is a 10-speed automatic. Both are solid.
But the real magic is the 4x4 system, isn't it? And that GOAT thing.
Exactly. The GOAT modes goes over any type of terrain. It sounds like marketing, and it is, but there's real engineering behind it. It's this smart electronic system. You just turn a dial, and it instantly changes everything, how the differentials lock, how the throttle responds, when the transmission shifts. It adapts the vehicle for sand, mud, rocks, whatever you throw at it. And so it makes it so easy to use, even for less experienced off-roaders. Turns complex adjustments into a simple dial turn.
Okay, so mechanically very capable. Let's shift inside. People buying these now, even the hardcore adventurers, they expect some tech, some comfort, right? Especially after getting muddy, the sources talk about cabin dualism.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They had to walk a fine line. So you get really durable materials inside. Some trims even have like rubber floors you can hose out, marine-grade vinyl seats, stuff built to take abuse and clean up easy.
Practical.
Very. But then look at the controls. They're designed to be big, chunky, easy to find and use even if you're wearing gloves. That's smart thinking about the actual use case.
And the tech side of that dualism, because this is where it gets interesting for, people who want the latest gadgets. Big screen.
Oh, yeah. Up to a 12-inch center touchscreen. And it runs Ford's SYNC4 system, maybe even SYNC5 in the latest updates, which is known for being pretty responsive and user-friendly.
Connectivity. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto.
Wireless standard, which is great. No messing with cables. And if you're into music, there's an optional Bang & Olufsen sound system. 12 speakers.
Yeah.
Pretty premium for a rugged SUV.
Nice.
But maybe the most useful tech for the target buyer. The built-in navigation system. It can save maps offline.
Ah, that's huge.
It really is. If you're deep in the backcountry, no cell signal. Having reliable maps that work offline is, well, could be critical. And of course, it gets over-the-air updates so the software stays fresh.
Practicality also means space. Cargo room. How much stuff can you actually fit in this thing? Especially for adventures.
Right, the numbers themselves, 20 cubic feet here, 50 there. It's less about the exact number and more about what it means.
Okay.
So the two-door is okay, but the four-door, that's where the space really opens up. With the back seats folded down, you're looking at up to maybe 83 cubic feet.
That sounds like a lot.
It is, enough to fit, say, a couple of full-size mountain bikes standing up inside. That's a big deal for a lot of buyers in this segment. That cargo flexibility in the four-door is a major advantage for family trips or hauling gear.
All right, so it's powerful, capable off-road, surprisingly techy inside, and practical. But now we need to talk about the other side of the coin. The pavement performance, the safety, and how it stacks up against rivals. This is where those trade-offs start to show up.
Absolutely, and safety first. We look at ratings from two main groups. IIHS, that's the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and NHTSA, the government's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Okay, and the sources say earlier models generally scored good in most IIHS crash tests. That sounds decent.
It is solid overall protection, but there were some areas flagged in specific tests. Things like headlight performance varied a lot depending on the trim level. Some were good, some less so. And there were notes about rear passenger head protection in certain crash types. Things to be aware of.
And the NHTSA side. That high stance must affect things like rollover risk.
Exactly. That high ground clearance, which is fantastic off-road, means a higher center of gravity. Physics is physics. So NHTSA gives it a medium rollover rating. Not unusual for this class of vehicle, but it's something buyers need to understand. Ford puts in electronic stability control to help manage it, of course.
But it's inherent in the design. You trade some on-road stability for that off-road prowess.
That's the fundamental trade-off, yes.
Okay, let's do the competitive heat check, the big one first. Jeep Wrangler, head-to-head rival.
The classic matchup. The Wrangler is still arguably the king of pure, hardcore rock crawling, especially with its solid axles, giving it maybe slightly better articulation how well the wheels stay on the ground over really uneven stuff. But the sources generally agree the Bronco is more comfortable, more refined on the road. If you daily drive it, spend time commuting, the Bronco often feels more civilized than the Wrangler. It smooths out some of the rough edges, literally.
Okay, next up, Toyota 4Runner, known for being bulletproof.
Legendary reliability, yes.
Yeah.
And offered better towing capacity, too. But the flip side, technology. The 4Runner's interior, especially the infotainment, it feels, well, dated compared to the Bronco's big screen and SYNC system.
So old school reliable versus new school tech.
Pretty much. It's a clear choice depending on your priorities.
And what about something more upscale, the Land Rover Defender 90 V8?
Ah, the Defender. Incredible machine. V8 power, serious luxury, but also a serious price tag. The Bronco kind of offers maybe 90% of the capability most people will ever use for potentially half the cost of that V8 Defender.
So it hits a sweet spot of capability and relative affordability that the Defender has sort of moved up market from.
Exactly. It makes that level of performance more accessible.
Okay, accessibility is great, but let's circle back to those trade-offs we mentioned. The sources are pretty clear on some downsides. Fuel consumption has to be near the top.
Oh, definitely. Those powerful EcoBoost engines pushing a heavy, boxy vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's thirsty. Especially the Raptor trim. You could be looking at combined fuel use over 15 liters per 100 kilometers.
Ouch.
Yeah, in today's market, with gas prices. That's probably the biggest hurdle for someone considering it as just a daily driver in the city.
And that off-road suspension, how does it feel day to day?
It feels firm, sometimes even harsh on smooth pavement, compared to, say, a more car-like SUV. You definitely feel its rugged roots even when you're just going to the store. It reminds you it's built for tougher stuff.
And noise. Boxy shape. Big tires.
Yeah, wind noise and tire noise at highway speeds are noticeable. It's not Lexus quiet in there. Again, part of the character, but a drawback if you prioritize serenity.
And one more thing, no hybrid.
Right. The sources suggest Ford isn't planning a hybrid version anytime soon, which, puts it a bit behind some competitors who are already offering hybrid or plug-in hybrid options for better efficiency. That's a strategic gap.
So lots to consider. But Ford also offers a ton of choice within the Bronco lineup itself.
Let's talk trims quickly. It's not just one Bronco.
No, it's a whole range, which is smart. Lets them target different buyers. You start with a base model, simple, capable, no frills, keeps the cost down.
The entry point.
Then you step up to trims, focus squarely on off-roading. like the Black Diamond or the Badlands. These get things like steel bumpers, rock rails, advanced suspension bits, locking diffs,
Yeah.
the serious hardware.
Okay, for the trail junkies, what about comfort?
That's where the Outer Banks trim comes in. It leans more towards style and comfort. You get nicer interior finishes, maybe leather seats, that premium B&O sound system becomes available, more street appeal.
And the top dogs, the performance ones. That's the Wildtrak and, of course, the Raptor. These get the most powerful engines, usually the V6s, and the most advanced suspension systems. The Sasquatch package, big 35-inch tires, lifted suspension, wider track often comes standard here. These are the performance monsters.
And I think there was mention of a limited 60th anniversary edition, too.
Yeah, based on the Outer Banks, but bundling in a lot of the desirable features, including that Sasquatch package, a special appearance package, essentially.
So this range of trims must mean a huge price range, too.
Absolutely. That base model, like we said, starts around $40,890 US. But once you start adding packages, climbing the trim ladder, especially up to that Raptor,
Yeah?
you can easily push towards $78,530 US or even more, depending on options. It's a big spectrum.
Made in the USA, right? Michigan.
Yep. Assembled at the Ford, Michigan assembly plant in Wayne, Michigan, keeping it domestic.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together for you listening. The 2026 Bronco. It's clearly a successful comeback. Ford managed to blend that undeniable heritage, that look, with genuinely modern tech and serious capability.
It really feels targeted. It's for the adventurer, the person who values being able to go almost anywhere and is willing to accept the trade-offs that come with that,
Right.
namely the fuel economy and maybe a less plush ride on the highway.
It nails the brief for that specific buyer.
I think so. And what's interesting is how it integrates things like the SYNC5 system and that premium audio without losing its core identity. It hasn't gone soft, despite the tech. It's still fundamentally a rugged, capable machine. Removable doors and roof, tough suspension.
Yeah, that's a good point. It still feels authentic.
Which leads to the final thought, the question for you, really. The Bronco forces a choice. You get incredible off-road DNA, but it comes bundled with, higher fuel costs and that firmer on-road ride. So the question is, where do you draw the line? How much daily comfort and efficiency are you willing to trade for that ultimate adventure capability in your SUV? That's the decision the Bronco puts right in front of you.